Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute little pumpkin man. He is basically a no-sew pattern, but we will have to embroider on the mouth, the little arms and feet, and then tie on the little stem for the pumpkin. And I have also made him in the plush yarn, so if you want to try it out in that, this is what he'll look like. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 10 millimeter safety eyes. And for the plush version, I used a number 6 blanket yarn, a 5.5 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only will you help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to begin at the top of the head, and you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'm going to be doing a knot with a loop on the end. So what I do is I fold my yarn over in half. I'm going to grab up here to make my loop, wrap it around my finger, bring it down, around, and through. Pinch that end of that loop, and I'm just going to slide this knot up while I hold on to that loop just to make it a little bit bigger than my hook. Then you're going to insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1, and remember this does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 8 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 16. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Increase again, 3 and 4. Increase again, 5 and 6. Increase again, 7 and 8. Increase, 9 and 10. Increase, 11 and 12. Increase, 13 and 14. Increase, 15 and 16. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1 single crochet for 1, 1 increase for 2 and 3. And then repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24. Row 4, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 5, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 6, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 7, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4. Row 8, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then on our 24th stitch, we're going to change color next, so we're just going to go in, grab our yarn, pull up, leave those 2 loops on the hook, do not finish the stitch, and then we're going to grab our new color. So this will be the color that you want the t-shirt to be, and I'm just going to cut my old color first because I have accidentally many times cut the wrong color after I tied it. So we're just going to take your old color and your new color, and we're going to tie them nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to take that new color and you're going to pull it through those last 2 loops of your last stitch of your previous row to finish that off. Row 9, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 10, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then again on our 24th stitch we're going to change colors. So into that stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, leave those 2 loops on the hook, grab your new color. So this will be your pant color, and again I'm going to snip off my old color so I don't cut the wrong one. Then we're going to grab our new color and our old color, tie them nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can, 2 or 3 times. And then just grab that new color, pull it through those last 2 loops of the last stitch of your previous row. Row 11, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 12, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, we're going to add our eyes now and do a couple other things before we continue. So grab those and get those ready. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the back of our center here. So our stitch marker is in the back, so we just want to get that in the center, and then we're going to flip it over so we're looking at the front. And then we're going to find the row that we're going to put our eyes in. So we're going to put them between rows 5 and 6. So you're going to find that starting loop, and you're going to count down 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to go down in between 5 and 6. And I always go into a stitch instead of a hole. And then I count my holes. So I just got to get that in a stitch. Just somewhere in the center. It doesn't matter if you're a little off. So I'm going to have a hole on each side of that. That's not very good. Let's see if I can do that better. There we go. So there's a hole on each side of that needle. 1, 2. Grab your eye. You're going to go in that first hole and count over 3. So 1, 2, 3. Go in that third hole. Same thing on the other side. That hole right beside your needle. 1, 2, and into the third hole. And then we're just going to turn it inside out a little bit so we can get our backs on. Now, if you want, you can add a little bit of stuffing right now. We only have 2 rows left. So what I do is I'll stuff it about halfway, and then I'm going to add the rest of my stuffing at the end. That's enough for me. Let's get our hook back in. And for our next row, we are going to be going into the back loops So if you've never done that before, when you normally go into your stitch, you go here underneath both of those V's, but this time you're going to come down in between the two V's and then just catch that back loop. So you're going to leave all these front loops and you're going to go on all these back loops. Okay, so for row 13 in the back loop, so you're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that around for a total of 16. So all these are in the back loop. 1 decrease for 2, 3 decrease for 4, 5 decrease for 6, and you'll notice as I'm going around you can see those front loops kind of sticking out. 7 decrease for 8, 9 decrease for 10, and remember these are all in the back loop. 11 decrease for 12, 13 decrease for 14, 15, and our last decrease for 16. And then row 14, we're just going to do 8 decreases all the way around. And we're back to regular stitching now. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, 6 decreases, 7 decreases, 8 decreases. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Then you're going to tie that off. Leave yourself a long tail in case you choose to do something else at the end with it, because we're going to be bringing it up here, and you can either loop it or something. So I'm going to cut my end. And then we're just going to add a little bit of stuffing here. And mostly what we want to do is just kind of get out to the corners. So right into here along this, so it's nice pointy, squared off corner. So I'm just digging my hand, feeling for any empty spots, but still making sure that it stays flat and firm. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, we're going to embroider the mouth next. So you're just going to grab a little scrap of yarn, or if you have embroidery thread, that will work even better. And you're just going to divide it up. This should have 4, but I've already stolen one off of it. And then you're just going to take those and you're just going to pull them apart till you have your one strand. So here's our one individual strand of thread. We're going to put that on our needle. And we're going to be starting one row down from where we inserted our eyes. So we inserted our eyes there. We're going to be one row down, and just this first hole on a diagonal from our eye, and we're going to be ending on this hole on a diagonal from this eye, so it's going to be 4 holes wide. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to start in the bottom. I'm going to come out in that first hole. Leave a little bit of string at the bottom for tying. And we're just going to come down a bit of an angle into that next hole. And then over, up, 1 stitch over into the hole beside where we started. Then we're going to come down and wrap it around into here. And we're going to come up in the same stitch we were just in. And that'll make our first little V. Then we're going to come over on an angle down 1 row and up over into this one, right beside. Come around there and finish off that V and come right back up. Now we're going to go this way into that next hole and up into that hole. And then down and out. I'm just going to show you quickly here. And then you're just going to tie those 2 ends. Not too tight because you don't want to pull your stitches that you just made on your mouth. Cut those off. Alright, now we're going to do the arms. So I'm just grabbing a fair-sized long piece of orange. It's probably about 3 feet long. It's my arms outstretched hand to hand. Thread that on. Starting at the bottom again, we're going to come out in between the 2 green rows, just underneath the eye, underneath the middle of the eye. Pull your thread through, leave a little bit for tying, and then we're going to go backwards so we're behind the eye. And we're going to go around this stitch 4 times. So 1, and don't pull it too tight, just nice and loose. 2, 3, try not to catch the stuffing like I just did. And then when we go down for our 4th one, we're going to come over to the other side and match that same stitch on that side. So I'm in the middle of the eye, in between the 2 rows of the green. And then remember, we're going to go backwards, so we're behind the eye. 4 times around. 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one, we're going to come down and do the foot. So we want to be about the middle to the front of the hand. And we're going to go in between the bottom of this row and where we did our back loop. So I want to be just above that ridge of stitching on our 2nd row of brown. So I'm just kind of coming at a bit of an angle. So if you're looking, I'm just in front of the hand a little bit. And again, we're going to do it 4 times, but this time we're going to come in towards the center around this stitch. Just so our legs are a little closer than our hands. So 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one, we're going to go down and over to the other side and just do exactly what you did on this side. So try and figure out where your first hole was. So see, I'm just kind of in the middle to the front of that hand. And then again, come in towards the center, and we'll go around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one, we're going to come out the bottom. Excuse me. And then we'll just tie those ends together. Now, if yours are a little messy like mine are, you can just come under all 4 strands. Just give a bit of a wiggle and a pull, just to kind of even them all out. This one is a bit messier than the rest. And then give it a tie. And give it a cut. All right, let's close him up now. So I see how I have all my ends here. It's not too bad on this one, but if you had a light color and dark colors inside, or you can really see them through your decreases, just take a tiny little bit of stuffing, and we're just going to cover those ends up before we close. Just enough that you don't see the ends. Thread your finishing tail on your needle. And then we're just going to go back and forth through that top stitch of our last row. Now, if you are doing this in the plush yarn, you might want to only do halfway, give it a pull, then do halfway again before you close it, just so your yarn doesn't snap if it snaps easily. Okay, I'm through all the way around, so I'm just going to give it a little pull now to close it up. And then I'm going to go into the next top loop and just give it a tie. And you can thread it up now, or you can thread it up after you've added your top, if you think it's going to be in the way, or if you're not adding a top. Take our stitch marker out. And now we'll do the little stem. So grab whatever color you're going to use for the stem. You're going to need a bit of a tail on both ends because we're just tying it on. So what's this? I don't know, 8 inches, maybe a little longer. Do your knot or loop or however you start a chain. I just do my knot with the loop on the end. Insert my hook. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And depending on how you look, I'm going to do slip stitches, but you could do 1 slip stitch and a couple singles. So slip stitch, and slip stitch. So I have 3 slip stitches. And then we're just going to tie that off again and leave yourself some tail for tying. So we're just going to thread that on. And all we're going to do is come on either side of either side here. So I'm going to skip a hole and I'm going to be on 1 hole on each side. And I'm just going to come up the center. So 1 strand's going to go on this side, up the center. Make sure you're in the center between the eyes. Thread on your other end. And I'll show you a little bit better once I get there. Okay, so we're on this, we went in here, so we're going to skip that hole, and we're going to go in here and up through the center. So it's just going to look like that, and then we're going to tie a knot in these 2 strands. Just make sure they're not this strand. They're the two you just put through. Nice and tight. And then we're going to thread those back in the center hole and out somewhere. Or if you wanted to braid it and you made your tails long enough, you could do that too. If you wanted to make a little braided loop at the top. And then we're just going to cut those ends off. And there we go, our little pumpkin. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has been so kind to have hit the thanks button below all my videos and sent me such generous donations. You will now be listed at the end of all my next videos as my super thanks friends. Take care and be safe and happy crocheting.